Super glad to have you guys on. This is a really hot topic that we've got tonight. And are you guys like excited about the topic? Let me know in comments. So I am broadcasting live in our on my Facebook page and also in YouTube. And so hopefully it's inside of the group as well. I hope I was able to do that successfully. But literally, I'm going to tell you, like, I'm pretty tech savvy, like, but I am like live, like inept. There are a couple of pieces of technology that get me copiers, and this whole like trying to multiplicity go live and video and all of that. This is not my superpower. So I was looking at a video that I recorded back in 2017, and I still have the same, like, okay, hold on, give me like 2 minutes and let me see if I've got it to all the places. So anyway, that's the beauty of live. You get to hear me ramble at the beginning. So welcome for those that are joining us live. For those that catch us in a replay, please do not forget to push hashtag replay. If you are new to my channel, new to this group, new to this page, my name is Sunday Gardner, and I am the online travel boss, business coach, and trainer. And I help people launch and operate successful and profitable travel businesses. And as such, as the business coach and trainer that I am, I would be remiss not to talk about what we are going to go over today, which is design fees, planning fees, whatever you call it, quotes, and the freeness of it all, and what we need to do as travel advisors to stop the madness. So if you are new to the industry, let me know in the comments. If you are new to the industry, type a 1, but if you are a seasoned old head like myself, type a 0 so I can see kind of who is listening and what your background is in the industry. And so I'm hoping I can get this to, there we go. So I can see you all and I can see your comments. All right, so let me know in comments like what your background in the industry is. How are you new, 1 or 0? You've been in the industry for a long, let's say greater than a year. If you've been in the industry, that means if you've been in the industry greater than a year, that means you survived COVID, you survived the pandemic, and you are still in it to win it, because another year has gone by. Like, we are in chapter 12 and it is a wrap. We have about 4 more weeks, less than 4 more weeks of this year, and we are into the new and amazing year. Before I jump in though, I saw a friend of mine's post, and I usually wait to announce like my word. Do you guys like do word of the, like, do you pick a theme for the year? Like, do you end the year thinking about like what your word is or what your thought is? I do. And I never know like what year is it going to be. So this year, I ended last year with this whole, the thought came to me, bold and fearless. And so all year, when you see stuff about me, you hear hashtag bold and fearless. The year before that, we had bold and relentless, because I really felt like I was relentlessly pushing through my failures, my successes, and I was still showing up in the space. And this year it was fearless. And I woke up the other day and I came up with my word for 2023. Are you guys ready for it? I sort of already let the cat out of the bag, but maybe you didn't put it together. Like, do you guys come up with words for your theme, or like what your year's going to be all about? Like, my one of my friends, I saw in her post today, she was like, yeah, she solicited and asked what people's words were. I woke up, it was about a week ago, and I woke up like dead out of my sleep, and I said, and the word that popped in my head was warrior. And because and like for those who don't know me, I'm a bit of a crier. Like, I get emotional about a lot of things, and so like just even talking about this, I'm sure I'll try and keep together. But I popped up out of my sleep, dead sleep, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, warrior. And the way that my whole process is like when I come up with a name for a name of a business, a name of a program, I always go to the thesaurus or the dictionary, and I look at what the meanings are. I look at what the derivative words are. I look at all of this stuff. And so when I looked up the definition of warrior, it was somebody who has the strength to go after what their goals are. And I was like, oh my God, that explains the fight that I feel like I've had to have this year, in fighting for my health, fighting to really figure out how I wanted to show up for you all, how I wanted to show up for my clients, how I wanted to, like, what direction I wanted to take Online Travel Boss. And so warrior is our 2023 word and theme. And it really is, I want to call into existence those clients who are ready to fight for their goals, fight for their, not, and I don't mean fight in a negative way, but, call in the inner strength that it takes for you to pursue failure, pursue through failure, triumphs. I had a coach one time tell me, and this really stuck with me, was that you have to ride the highs low and ride the lows high. Meaning that when things are really good, you forget, because you're so high on all the amazingness, that you forget to do the consistency and the things that got you to that high point. And when things are low, we get low, and then we forget to do the things that are needed to get us high. So ride the highs low and ride the lows high. That always stuck with me. And so warrior is the word. So I tell you that because, I'm going to, find the strength, continue to find that strength to end the year strong and start the new year really, really strong. And so this topic is something that I have been passionate about as long as I can remember being in the travel industry. And that is fighting for this whole concept of, we are professionals. And I feel like I spend a lot of time trying to remind travel advisors, professionals, whatever you call yourself, that you are no different than any other professional service provider, right? But the way that this industry is, it's very slow to change, very archaic. I went last month, I was at Cruise World. And I was reminded when I was in Cruise World how different this industry is compared to other industries. My background is tech. I come from IT. I'm a certified project manager. I've worked for, several Fortune 500 companies, whatever that means these days, right? And I come from a very different background than travel. So when I go to a conference like that, I'm reminded that this industry, in terms of the way that the industry operates, doesn't necessarily match the entrepreneurs that have decided to be in this industry. But the things that we do are very reminiscent of the old way that things were done in this industry. So, back in 2018 or so, I sort of got on this mantra of talking to advisors about the fact that their time was valuable, the expertise that they brought to the table was valuable, and as such, you should charge accordingly. And so I haven't really been on this sort of soapbox in a while, and so I decided today's the day that I get back on it, because I want to remind you, if you have been an advisor that's been through been through the mud. I love Kevin Gates, right? And he's got this one song that he says, I don't remember the name because I'm really bad with names. And he's like, I came up from the mud. And I feel like that's what COVID did for the industry. Those agencies that survived, those businesses that were able to stick through, they came out of the mud of the despair that the industry went through. And those that go into 2023 really meeting our clients where the world is at, not where the industry is at, but where the world is at, which is technology driven, service driven, right? Expertise delivery, monetizing that expertise that you have makes today's topic even more important for you advisors. And so what we're going to talk about today is why you no longer need to think that you need to give away your advisory skills, your expertise for free or even low dollars. So I'm going to tell you my story. When I started in the industry, I started, as many of you did. If you were recruited, I was recruited by one of a very large recruiting company that, has, people that they focus on the recruiting aspect of the industry, not necessarily the selling of travel. And I was recruited into the industry, and I was pretty much told that travel would sell itself. And so I was like, well, I love travel. Of course it'll sell itself. All I have to do is tell my friends and family that I sell travel, and they will come in droves. And I was like, I'm going to figure out how to sell it for super cheap, and I'm going to make $1 million, and I'm going to be rich and successful, going across the countryside, taking my family of five all across the countryside. That was the rose-colored glasses that I had back in 2018. And what I quickly learned was that my friends and family were equally as excited about the fact that I was now a travel agent, so to speak, and was willing and able to quote them as many trips as my heart could absolutely stand. And so what happened is I would get a lot of requests. I did what my upline told me. She was like, you just need to let people know that you are now taking travel, and people will start making requests and they'll start booking with you. And they certainly started making requests, but they did not book. So as I was learning the business, I took a lot of requests for travel. I must have quoted, it felt like thousands. I don't think it was thousands, but it was a lot of places. I did a lot of research. I did a lot of quotes and delivered a lot of quotes to crickets, um, empty clients that really didn't want to book with me. And so what I dubbed was this whole concept of being a human Expedia.com. And so I had expressed this to my upline, and she was like, well, you should just charge. Like, I charge $25. You should just charge them. I tell them at the end of my form, because she talked to me about the whole concept of a form. She says, at the end of your form, you just tell them that you charge $25 per person, and that will repel tire kickers. Now, this is back in 2018. So I was like, hot damn it, that is an amazing idea. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And so that's what I did. I charged $25, but let me tell you, I was still scared in the pit of my stomach, like the core of my stomach was super scared to tell people that I charged, because at that time, I didn't know any advisor that charged. I didn't know any advisor in 2018 that charged for designing travel. They didn't even really call it back in 2018. Maybe they did in certain circles, but any of the circles that I was in, nobody called it designing. Nobody really talked about a planning fee. And so I was like, travel agents don't like, and the whole concept of being an advisor. Certainly I had found some terminology out on the internet, but it really wasn't a big known thing in 2018. And I was scared. I was scared to charge, because I was like, nobody's going to pay my fee. And what do I say? How do I introduce it? How do I even say that I'm going to charge when they can go to Expedia.com? I didn't want to be a human Expedia.com, but I was afraid that they would compare me to Expedia, right? Well, I could just go online and do it for Expedia, because I didn't really have this whole concept of what we're going to talk about today, about like value proposition, really how to, what was the value that I brought to the table? Like, yeah, I was pissed off that I was doing all these quotes and nobody was booking for it, but like, what was worth $25? I couldn't even articulate that at the time. And so I remember my first client, I charged $25. It was a trip to Hawaii. I'll never forget this. It was a trip to Hawaii. I charged her $50, and it was multiple revisions. And I was like, okay, the $50, like the first charge, I collect the $50, and the first charge, I was like, this is BS, right? I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was like, I make way more money like managing projects than $50 for, 15,000 revisions. I, I grew up, like, I feel like I've grown up, but, my background is in requirements gathering, right? I used to gather requirements, give them to developers. They would create, software from that. And I was like, I got paid a whole hell of a lot more money to gather requirements than $50. And I didn't even let, my corporate clients do all the amount of revisions that this one lady did for her Hawaii trip and then ultimately still didn't book. And so I quickly had to learn that if I wanted to be successful, one, not get ticked off when people wasted my time in booking. I needed to create a service that was, one, clear to the client that I mean business about the business of my business, right? And was enough that it would repel those people who weren't serious about my business, or really serious about utilizing me more than just being a human expedient. Now, I don't really care what the clients walk into it. If they really want me to just do some quotes that they can leverage, they're going to pay for that, right? So my services are priced at a point that makes me not care if they decide to move forward or not, because I am compensated for the expertise, the recommendation, the research that I put together, right? Does that make sense? Like, so I created a process that allows me to be comfortable with not caring what they decide to do, right? So I remember when I was younger, and have you guys ever given money away to somebody and you're like, when I first, had money to like let people borrow, I was always worried about, are they going to pay me back? Like, are they going to pay me back? And, I remember my mom telling me that you've got to be comfortable with giving away that money and not getting it back. That's the way I feel about my quotes now, is that because I get compensated for the service, so the next transaction is a natural transaction for my clients. But if they decide that it's not the best thing, they've paid me for the service that I've provided, which is to provide them a designed experience according to their requirements. They've paid for that transaction. Now we'll move to the next stage of the process, right? So I'm a big process person. As we go into 2023, that is really where my zone of genius is, and that is where you will see me showing up now, is really in business processes and systems and tools that help facilitate you getting the business of your business done smoother, right? So that's what I learned. I was like, okay, so now $50 doesn't warrant unlimited revisions, right? It doesn't, nor is it enough for me to feel good to even do 3 revisions, right? So there was a lot of lessons I learned in that first payment, and even a lot of the subsequent payments that really helped me define and design the process that we go by now, which is, we've sat down and we've really, thought about what our service is and what it is that's, like my new word now, like I think this is not a new word for other people, but it's my new favorite word, my jam. Like, what's the thing that I love to do? And I do like the research. I do like the picking and the assembly and the putting it together and then the presentation and the delivery of it. And I like that. And that service really embodies the time that it takes to, one, have forged those relationships, really the assembly it takes, matching requirements to suppliers and to, what they want to create and design an experience that matches the client's desires. It's funny, in me doing this training tonight, I was talking to one of my clients yesterday, and she is just recently independent. And we were talking about that, she is struggling with saying a price for her design fee. And not only that, she's also, one of the things that she said to me was, yeah, the client's budget was $4,500, but I'm not going to spend that. I'm not going to give them a budget for that. And I thought and I said this to her out loud. I'm like, why not? Right? Because my job is not to be the cheapest. My job is to deliver an experience that meets your requirements and goes above and beyond that. It's not that my job is to make it the cheapest experience, but it's to deliver an experience that's a one of a kind. I always have a hard time with the combination of those words, but a one of a kind experience, right? That meets your requirements at the price point that you asked for it, right? So if you said your budget is 4,500, I'm not trying to get you to 2,000. I'm not trying to get you to 1,500, because if your budget's not really that, the reality, the way that people tell you numbers and the way that people's money story is, it's likely if it's 4,500, the budget's a little bit higher than that anyway. So why do I need to go under if really I understand what you want? I'm going to deliver what you want and then make sure it includes and creates an even more wow experience, right? So I tell you all of that because really your planning fee is really around your own money story, right? It's around what you're comfortable with in terms of charging, but really your ability to piece together the service and the value that you bring to your clients. That is the amount that you should charge. $50, I want you guys to throw that out the window, right? I don't know where $50 came from, but it certainly was back in 2018. And literally, if you've ever charged somebody $25 and they've happily paid for it, right, that doesn't deter knuckleheads. It doesn't deter people who are going to waste your time. It doesn't deter, because literally McDonald's costs $25 now, right? In this inflation 2022 world that we are in, $25 is the new $5, right? $25 is not a price point to really deter tire kickers, right? I'm not going to tell you what your number should be, but I am going to tell you that it needs to be worth your time and effort and the expertise that you have, right? So if you don't know what your value proposition is to the market, to your clients, that's what you need to journal on today. If you know what your value is, you know that you are an advocate for your clients, you know that you have amazing partnerships and that you can deliver amazing experiences to your clients, and you're still charging less than 150. I said I wouldn't tell you the number, but if you're charging less than 150, I would ask why. Why? The other thing I would also ask is, what's your average ticket price? Like, are your clients going on $3,000, $2,000, $5,000 trips, and you're charging $75, less than $100 for creating that experience? So it's not that your clients don't have money, right? You just haven't given them a reason to spend the money with you, right? So the services that you provide is different than them going on the trip. You are creating an easier path for them to fulfill their dreams. You are protecting them in ways to allow them to enjoy their dream better than they could do it if they did it themselves, right? Everybody thinks that they're a travel a travel agent, right? You'll get clients telling you, oh, well, I found it on Expedia.com or fill-in-the-blank.com. I don't care where they found it, right? Yeah, but like, do you remember COVID? Any of those of you who were there during COVID, and the sheer amount of volume of time we spent advocating for our clients' refunds, advocating for our clients to get back in town because they were stuck, right? We do more than just put together a package. We do more than just string together some quotes together and put it into a nice presentation, right? Our advisory skills are worth it, right? To be able to decipher all the information that we decipher as a travel professional, that's worth it, right? So if you don't know it, I'm here to tell you tonight, it's that you're worth it. You're worth every penny more than some low ticket, particularly if you are designing high ticket experiences. You need to get paid accordingly, all right? So really point one in this is really the amount that you charge starts with you. What do you want to charge? What do you think you're worth? What do you think your time is worth? What do you think the expertise and the knowledge that you've gained is worth? If you're new to the industry and you're like, I don't, because I literally have agents tell me, advisors tell me, right, that I'm new in the business and I don't feel comfortable charging people because I don't know the business. Well, shame on you, get comfortable. Shame on you, get the expertise. Shame on you for starting a business that you don't know what you're doing. Get trained, get the training that you need so you can get comfortable, right? I always, with my private coaching clients, tell them when they tell me this is, I need more time. I'm like, doctors, when they start their practice, They may have never seen a person in private practice, but that has nothing to do with what they charge because they've already gone through the training. They already know what they need to do and they charge it. You're a service provider and you should treat yourself as a high dollar service provider. You're not a low ticket service provider. Don't get me wrong. There is a place for everything, but what we do and what we create is a high ticket product, right? So we I'm ready to let this out of the bag, and I'm going to do it tonight. Is that we are high ticket providers with low ticket mentality, with low ticket processes, with low ticket activities, low ticket everything else. But we want luxury products, but we ourselves are not luxury in our thinking and the way that we deliver our services and anything. So if you're not there, then fine, charge low ticket. But I would say, why aren't you there, right? If you are an advisor on this training, or you see this later and you say, I am tired of people who don't have the money to afford the types of trips I want to curate, you need to look in the mirror. What are you doing to create the attraction for those clients? Do you have a high ticket service? Do you deliver high ticket value, right? What do you have that will allow your clients to want to participate in that, right? High ticket clients who are going to be dropping multiple thousands of dollars, right? There's some expectation there. What are you doing to bring that expectation to fruition? It's no one's responsibility but you to define that for your clients. All right. Okay. So that's point number one. Point number two is, okay, so get it together in your head, right? Get it together in terms of the service that you provide. What is your service? What are you doing that warrants a high ticket price point for that service? Define that, then you're going to be gold. Then the second thing that you've got to do is got to be able to deliver. Right? You got to be able to deliver. If you're going to charge $500 for designing curated custom travel, right? What are you delivering? You can't deliver the exact same thing that Expedia.com did. Don't get me wrong. I love Expedia, or Priceline. It used to be Priceline. That was my thing because I really like William Shatner. Like I love Star Trek and all things Trekkie. I'm totally a Trekkie. And so Priceline, when he was like the spokesperson for Priceline, I don't know if he still is. Like I was like Priceline, Priceline, Priceline. I love it. I've shopped Priceline. I think it's great. But its market and who it attracts is a certain type of clientele. Are you trying to be that? Are you designing trips that are equivalent to Priceline? Expedia.com? Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but is that what you're doing? Because if that's what you're doing, that probably doesn't warrant a $500 service fee, right? Right. So if you're not really designing one of a kind services, then you probably, I don't ever want to, let me just say this, I don't ever want to compete for low ticket services. Like I don't want to compete with Walmart because they've got billions of dollars to spend on marketing. I don't have billions of dollars to spend on marketing, right? I am a specialized service. I want to attract specialized clients that want a very specific type of experience, whatever that may be for you, right? And as such, there's a cost to that for them, right? Because it's a cost for me. Like, let's break down the numbers. How much has it cost you to start your business? So many of you, maybe you haven't spent a lot of money. Maybe you've spent no money on training. Maybe you've not spent any money to form your business. You haven't spent any money on branding. You haven't spent any money on any of those things. So if you haven't done all of that, you got to ask yourself again, why are you worth it? All right, I'm not suggesting that you're not worth it, but I can tell you personally, I have spent thousands of dollars on my brand. I've spent thousands of dollars on training to get to the point that I am here today, right? Knowledge that I didn't have, sales knowledge, marketing knowledge, advertising knowledge, travel industry knowledge, you name it, where I was missing in that knowledge to stand here before you today and say I'm an expert in this thing called the travel industry. It's because I've paid sweat equity in years of actually doing it and also in training and in knowledge, right? And so I can confidently say, my training programs cost $3,000 plus, right? Because I'm confident in the delivery of what it gets my clients. I'm confident in what I've done. I'm confident in what I'm able to deliver, right? Same thing for you. What do you need to do to bridge that confidence so that you can confidently say, hot damn it, it's $250 for my planning fee, right? What relationships have you forged with these suppliers, right? Do you know your BDM on a level? Do you have, like, I literally just talked to a BDM yesterday, and her number is now in my phone, right? Right? We're in the middle of planning a group trip, and she's like, here's my phone number. Like, so, I got this to do and I've got this to do. That's the level of relationship building I'm doing. What are you doing in that space, right? So when I say $250 and somebody wants to go to fill in the blank, I forged a relationship to be able to design an amazing experience. We just had Letty from Cuba. She's an amazing DMC for Cuba, right? I've never been to Cuba. We're getting ready to go to Cuba in February, right? But that relationship that I forged already just with Cuba, can I confidently now send somebody to Cuba and feel comfortable about that? Heck yeah. And can I charge them a premium to do that? Heck yeah, right? Because I spent that time building that relationship, right? I know my client, unless they find Letty themselves, right? They're not going to be able to do that same thing that I've done already with that. That's a relationship that is value that you bring to the table, right? And as such, you should charge accordingly, right? So 2 is really around, what have you done to really position you as a valuable specialist? That requires specialist fees, right? What are you doing? What have you done, right? And don't get me wrong, supplier training is invaluable and it's critical as a part of our plan. But literally, when I look at my upcoming year, I'm looking at, what skills do I need to augment right now to get me to the level that I want to be at? If you are currently charging $25 per person for your design fees, ask yourself this: what skills do I need to acquire to make me good about charging $250? Do I need to get sales skills? Do I need to get marketing skills? Do I need to get closing skills? What do I need? Do I need to get more travel industry supplier skills? What are those skills that I need to acquire so I can confidently charge fill in the blank, whatever that number is, because there's no right or wrong number except for the $25 per person. And I keep harping on that because that's just an arbitrary number that somebody came up with. It's not indicative of what the norm should be, right? It doesn't, like, because I literally remember the turning point that I had in my whole concept of this agency fee thing is I read an article from I think it's Stephanie is the lady who runs the hostagencyreviews.com. And so back in 2018, like if you go and you search that site and you do agencies, she every year does a survey for travel agents, and she polls travel agents to determine who's charging a fee and who's not. And so she does this whole big study. She does it every year, as long as I've been following her. And this particular year, because I did a training back in 2018 on agency fees, I remember finding this article, and in the article, it discussed this agency on the East Coast, and I don't remember the name of the agency, that charges $500. Uh, and I want to say it was per, and then she also had this model where I don't even remember the exact amount, but what I remember out of the article is 50% of her revenue came from agency fees. And she charged like I think it was like $1,500 a retainer fee to her agents, and they were to her clients, and she was able to, they call her up and they want to go to Aruba, Timbuktu, doesn't matter. And she was on retainer. And when I read that, I immediately said, we are no different than when you retain a lawyer for their services. We are no different when you retain any other professional service for their services. So why not create a service that allows you to get your services retained on demand for your clients? In the same article, they talked about an agency that had a membership where the agency charges a membership, and it allows the clients to buy into the membership of services, that concierge services, trip planning services. And I thought, why aren't more agents doing that? Why aren't more agents leveraging their professional services in that manner? And the reality is because you guys don't think of yourselves as professional service providers. You don't think of you. So I come from that background. I come from a technical professional services. So it was very easy for me to connect the dot. But if you've never been in that world, it may be hard for you to connect the dots that you are a professional service provider. Professional service providers in the technology field charge premium consulting fees, right? In the medical field, premium. You go to any specialist in the medical field, they charge premium services. Pick any specialist in any field, and if they have the word specialist behind them, there is a premium dollar associated with that. There's premium knowledge that you assume comes with that. There's premium services, connections, information, fill in the blank that come with that. So if you don't have that to give to your clients, that's the gap that you need to fill. It's not that you need to charge less. You need to get the gap. You need to fill the gap. You need to fill the specialist gap, the knowledge, the expertise, the relationships, all that allow you to charge a premium dollar. You need to fill that gap. So if you don't have that, that's what you should work on. That should be what you should focus, not on charging less, but ensuring that you can charge more. All right. And then number 3 thing that I want to leave you with tonight in terms of no more free quotes and no more low quotes. Trevor is watching now, and I did a post earlier in the week, and I wish I had the forethought to have like screenshotted it and posted in this training tonight, but I didn't. But to summarize what he responded in this post was like, if you don't value yourself enough to charge, neither will your clients. And I'm going to leave you with that, right? That this whole idea of giving away quotes for free is based on an old premise. The industry, in terms of your client base, is no longer that. The amount of access to information for your clients is like it's limitless. It's like it's infinity. The amount of information that if somebody really wants to get it, they can do it themselves, right? So it's not that we are trying to take away the work from do-it-yourselfers. We are saving people the time it takes to comb through that infinite amount of information, right? And be able to make quick decisions about the information so that they can get out of town quicker, easier, without worry, right? Making sure that all the I's, the T's are crossed. That is the value that we bring to the table. I'm not trying to deliver them the internet on paper. I'm trying to assemble information in a way that allows them to make quick decisions that meet their requirements within the budget that they've set. Maybe a little bit less, but again, I'm not trying to be the cheapest. I'm not trying to beat Expedia or any other person for that matter. I'm trying to curate a design an experience that meets their requirements. When I build software, right, I'm not trying to, I never built a widget less than the requirements that the client want, nor did I do it cheaper than the client want. As a project manager, my job was to come in at budget, and if I could, under budget, but nobody rewards you for being under budget and you didn't meet the requirements, right? Travel's no different. Like, I approach travel no different than the way that I build software, no different than the way that I showed up as a professional consultant in the IT world. Same thing for you. Now, your background may not be like that. You'd be like, well, I never did consulting, Sunday. I've never done that. But you're in the role. So by golly, get the skills that you need to make it happen, right? Like, you are in a professional services role. If you have a travel business and you want to make 6 figures, you want to make this a lucrative, you want this to replace income in your business, then you need to step up your game. You got to step up as a professional. What's going to set you apart? Those advisors, those agencies that you hear stories at that are 6 figures, $1 million agencies, they are professional agencies. They are not slinging together quotes. handing them out willy-nilly. They show up in an amazing way to their clients professionally and provide their clients experiences like no other, right? That should be your goal in 2023 because we're showing up as warriors. Are you guys? Are you showing up as a warrior? Let me know in comments. What do you guys think? Like, how do you feel like that? Like, I want you to walk away from tonight. Like, I'd like you guys to tell me in comments, like, were your biggest aha moments? And I'm not able to see all the comments. So you guys may be saying a whole bunch of stuff and I can't see them just based on the way that I'm streaming. I'm streaming on StreamYard. But you know, I usually after this, I go back and I listen to what your comments are. What I want you guys to type in the comments is, are you ready to show up in 2023 as a warrior, right? And I'm coining travel warrior. That's like going to be my new mantra for 2023, travel warrior, right? And I don't mean from a, like, I'm going to travel all over the place, right? You are a travel business warrior, right? You have the strength to go after your goals, right? Whatever that means. So that means filling in the gaps where you have them. It's changing and creating systemized ways that you do. It means investing in yourself, investing in your business so that you can confidently show up in the way that you want to. You guys are warriors and I know you can do it. So hopefully if you're listening to this and you catch this in the replay, let me know what let me know what your aha moment is. If you are on live, let me know what your aha moment, your biggest takeaway from tonight's training. Because listen, back in 2018, I literally created this training called Agency Fees That Get You Paid. And we are actually going to be updating that training at the end of this year going into 2023. So I think it's not even available anymore as we update the training. But even back in 2018, my whole desire was to see more advisors charge for their professional services. I end 2022 with that same spirit in my heart and that same desire for each of you. That free quotes don't get you more business. They attract the wrong type of client, and oftentimes you actually potentially call in the wrong person when you say I give away free quotes. Advisors tell me all the time, they're like, yeah, I set myself apart when I give away free. I don't want, like, they confidently tell me this and I look at them and I'm like, you're not setting yourself apart. More than 50% of the advisors don't charge for clients. You actually set yourself apart by actually charging a premium, because people immediately are like, well, either they are repelled and they're like, oh my God, like, what do you mean she's charging $500? Or they're like, oh my God, they're intrigued and they want to know, like, what does that include? So again, with that price ticket needs to come some value, right? That you bring to your table. People aren't afraid to spend the $500 fill in the blank number that you want to charge, right? Oftentimes they don't see the value to the amount it is that you're charging. So if you can create and define that value for your prospective clients, people swiping their credit card for your service fee will be a thing, or having a problem swiping will be a thing of the past, right? Connect the value for them. Value yourself. That's right, Angel. That is exactly what I am so happy to hear. That's exactly a great thing for you to take away tonight, is that you are valuable. You are a professional service provider. If you want to do some research on this, go right now and look at what professional service providers out there are giving away free work. A quote is work for us. It's not a consultation. Certainly my discovery calls where I'm gathering your requirements, that's free, right? But me delivering you results and a recommendation and a path forward, that's work. Those are services. Those are professional services. Those do not come for free. And I would challenge any of you guys to come back and tell me a company, an industry that gives away professional services for free and has no expectation to get paid except for the purchase of the recommendation that they make. It's ludicrous to me in this day and age, but this is the industry, right? We have the ability to change that. So with that, I leave that with you. Change is a good thing. Our clients have complex situations, complex requirements, sometimes unrealistic expectations, right? You're the magician that makes it happen. Charge accordingly. All right. Have a lovely day. Have a wonderful weekend. We are coming towards the end of the year. I think I'm coming up live at 2 more weeks before the end of the year. So I will be back here. Same bat channel. No one does that. I'm not sure I'm following that, but maybe that's in reply to what I said. I will be back here, same bat channel next week, talking all things launching and operating a successful and profitable travel business. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Talk to you soon. Bye.